Whenever you're putting a big project together, you always have to remain very focused of what you want to represent. And for me, I was very clear from day one, I want to represent the purity and honesty and simplicity of the Himalayan foodways and life. And one thing I was clear from the beginning, I want to bring the recipes which are lost somewhere in between the merging cultures. So I remember very clearly, I was in Ladakh and I spoke to this woman that what do you actually eat at home? And she told me something very general Indian dishes which are very much North Indian inspired. So then I asked her a very important question. I said, what was your favorite dish when you were growing up? And she says that dish was called shutaki, which I loved totally because it meant donkey's ears. It was kind of pasta with whole wheat flour in which they would actually make a vegetable stew and add that kind of flour and dough to that boiling, simmering, stew. And one thing which was so interesting was that the moment she was cooking it for me for this book, all throughout this time she was talking about her childhood. And that was so heartwarming to see an 80-year-old woman talking about when she was a little girl and she remembered when she was married and how her grandmother used to treat her. And she also remembered through that smell of that dish all the folklores of her childhood. And I think that was the moment I decided that this book has to go much deeper through the recipes. And that is something which is very important to me. Waking up early in the morning and taking a shikara, a small houseboat, and going to the floating market in Kashmir, which was all surrounded by lotuses and backdrop of these beautiful mountains. I think those visuals I will never be able to forget ever in my life. And just every simple place looked like a temple to me. Every house which stood individually on these mountains. There were no locks on the door. They just welcomed you with open heart and they cooked on open fires. I think that is what the biggest gift for me was in this book. When I was traveling in these majestic mountains and in these valleys and flowing with the rivers, I figured out that what I want to bring to my readers was a piece of this culture, their cuisine and their flavors. If you can't make the trip to these majestic Himalayas, I'm bringing a piece of it to your kitchens, to your lives.